course was pretty active on the features. Hopefully you started to see when you actually were looking ahead, staying one feature ahead, things started really flowing. Things started opening up, a lot less work, adding less distance, and it all came together, and the clock hopefully was reflecting that as well. This morning, we know we only gave you one walk. Normally you would probably do 2-3 walks. This forced you to go out there on that first run and really try to have to look ahead. But you didn't really know the course all that well, so it was also forcing you to visualize the course, right? That's probably a term you've heard us say already this weekend, but it really is a very important part of autocross. It goes back to the course walk level. We walk the course in the morning to try to figure out where it goes, but as the Phase 1 guys remember from yesterday, it's also to try to think about when we're looking ahead and getting that mental movie, we like to call it, put together so that when you pull up to the line, you have an expectation of how the course is going to drive. Now, usually, we get an 80% right. Things tend to be completely different, some features, and we come back and we make changes to that mental movie. Yeah. So the visualization is really, really important to go out and execute a good first run, right? Some of you guys I know this weekend are telling me, well, first run's usually kind of my slower run, just figure things out. You can't do that. Autocross, you only get 3 runs at the national level, probably 4 on the local level. You need each run to count. And to go out and throw down a good first run is very, very important in a competitive environment. Many of us, I'm sure, have sat on our first runs. You don't want to, but sometimes that happens. So you can't throw away those first runs. So this visualization thing, again, how do we work on that? Well, we're going to do a drill here this afternoon where we're going to have you guys drive a course that you are not going to get to walk, okay? So this is going to force you guys to put this course together in your head first. Is there anything else we want to talk about before we move into that? I know we're all still kind of eating.
Talk around what we did this morning.
Anything
new? No?
We're still eating. Okay. Talk around what we're doing. Yeah.
Close your eyes. Walk through it.
Want to do that now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, we're going to go and move forward then for this next phase. What we're going to do is we're going to have you guys drive the course you just drove backwards. Okay? So, what does that mean? Well, we're actually going to be starting over on that side, right? Over on the finish chute. We're going to be going up. We're going to basically talk through this first time, okay? And then I'm going to have you guys close your eyes and go through it as well with us. We're going to be going up through the slot, right? And we have 2 offsets. We're going to set up for those 2 offsets. Those offsets are then going to send us up through the 6-back, I guess it is, the first chute. We're going to make a right-hand sweeper over to that slalom, right? Which side are we going to be entering on that slalom? Left side. We're going to be going out. Get into that slalom. We're going to be going through the next tube. I think that's an 8-pack.
8-pack.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
After the tube, we've got a gate, right? We're going to be approaching that slalom. Which way are we going to be entering that slalom? You're going to be entering between those 2 cones, right? You're going to have the last cone on your left, and you're going to be coming in, entering on that second cone. Do we ignore that first cone? Yeah? I don't know. Maybe not.
What is it we're trying to do in slaloms? We're trying to get rhythm down, right? So if we charge that first one, what's that going to do to the next one? It's going to make it ugly tucking in.
What sharper turns?
Again, the whole thing we're trying to do is to immediately start our rhythm as soon as we possibly can to get that rhythm going.
We may not drive over to that cone, but we can at least be thinking about that cone, right? Same thing, well, we'll finish the course, but... So, if we're going through the slalom, we're going to be exiting on which side of the slalom? Outside. Sweeping back through to the main straight, whatever you want to call it on the front here. And then we're going to actually go through, backwards through that circle, the right-hand circle, and exit back off. At an angle. So kind of similar to where we started, but a little more turning off that circle, and we'll shoot out this direction here. Everybody got that? Okay. As you guys knew from this morning, it was very difficult timing-wise to get the looking ahead down right? A lot of the features are compressed. You're usually in a feature where you need to be thinking about that next feature, and you can't see it. Some of them you couldn't actually get your eyes over to, but you had to at least be thinking about that, right? So it's important to be thinking about the features if you can't see them. I guess we should go ahead and go through the course one more time. I prefer you guys to do it with your eyes closed, so you can try to go off your mental image right now of how this is going to drive. All right, everybody with me? So we're lined up on the start chute. We're going to take off from the line. We're approaching the first slot, right? We're going to enter on the left, go through the slot, We need to be looking up to those offsets as we approach that slot though, right? So we're looking at those 2 offsets. Now we're looking up through the offsets up the hill, right? Up the hill we've got our first 6-pack. We're already looking up to that. Now as we go up through that, it's probably a good time. We gotta get our eyes over to that slalom. That's gonna be the exit of our turn. So we're looking around to that slalom. Don't fixate on the last cone in that slalom. Pick up 2 cones, as I told my students. We need to look for lines, right? So we're looking, scanning up back in that slalom, picking up the 2 cones minimum. You probably can see all 3, third being the last of that 2. Look through that slalom. We're entering that slalom, we're looking down up over the hill through the tube. We see the gate. See the gate down there. What's after the gate? The slalom. We're going through the gate, we're setting up for the slalom, we're looking down the slalom. Don't fixate on the single first cone of the slalom. Pick up the sequence so we can start our rhythm early. Looking down the slalom, we see the entire slalom. As we're in the slalom, we're going to try to get our eyes over to the right. We need to be thinking about that right hand that's going to come up as soon as we get near the end of that slalom. We're probably going to start giving it up in that slalom, right? Give it up a little bit, just like we did on the 3 cone to the top going the other way. We're going to be starting to give it up on those last couple cones. Get the car wrapped around. Now we're feeding on power going down the main straight. As we're approaching down the main straight, we're going to pick up those pointers in that circle. We're going to be looking for those pointers, looking around the circle, looking around the circle, looking for doubles, and there's our exit. Okay? I saw a lot of eyes open, but I'll let them flash.
It's easy, right?
So, you'll see a lot of people at big events. Shanker does it, Corey. Yeah, Shanker, he'll throw things at him usually. We'll see Shanker over at the finish, you know, with his imaginary steering wheel going through the course. So a lot of people do that, right? They'll walk the course and they start to drive it in their head. Visualization really is an important aspect of the sport. As you guys started learning yesterday, so much of this is mental. So this would be a really good exercise for you. Again, to go out on a course you haven't driven yet, to see how proactive we can be and not end up in a reactive state.
The other thing you see from time to time is you'll see drivers because we all got idle time while we're waiting on our run to go. They'll be sitting in their car actually driving through the course. So much so that they'll put a timer on themselves, and if you come within 1 second to 2 seconds of what your actual drive time is, then you've got an excellent visualization of that course. If you're 10 seconds early or late, then that's the way it's going to translate when you're out there actually driving. So again, another good exercise to go through.
I'll often do some visualization watching faster cars. I'll watch a K-Mod car or something that's really fast. So at a minimum, I'm going to be driving a course that happens faster than what's going to happen in my car. It's another way to stay ahead. Because again, a lot of this looking ahead is timing. You know, we know to do it. We know we're supposed to do it. So the key part is when do you do it? The earlier you can try to look ahead, the better ahead you're going to be on the course.
I often try to go through it faster than real speed, because that way if I can remember it at a quicker pace, then when I'm driving it, it feels like I have more time. I'm seeing it earlier, I have more time to set it up and put the car where I want it.
Well, you know, Group 1 had it pretty hard, didn't they? Why don't we start with Group 4? Group 4 is a good place.
You guys are looking forward to watching all those
what
cars.
we'll do, Group 4 will go 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. So whoever works for Group 4, you need to go out and work right away, and then we just kind of continue around the clock. So Group 3 will be the last group to run.
Give a few more minutes for you guys to get your lunch and stuff. But I guess since we did that, is there anything should we just talk around now?
Yeah, everybody hang on for just a minute.
We're swapping.
If you look at your sheet, we're going to swap out instructors, and you'll have that instructor the rest of the day. You know, so again, it's going to be working on the visualization things and the other things that we're going to be working on the balance of the day. Any questions for anybody? Any massive light bulbs go on this morning that weren't on before? Yes, Mike.
15 in a second earlier, instead of winding the thing all the way out in the first and doing a power shift and the car's all out of control and swirling. That was a light bulb.
It's the car balanced earlier, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, almost without exception, we find that the sooner that we can get into the actual flow and not have to worry about all the... Now, don't get us wrong, there will be given courses that'll be so tight that you might want a lower gear, but most of the time, if you look at the actual effect of it, you lose 1/10 to 2/10 on the downshift, and you lose another 1/10 to 2/10 on the upshift. So when it's all done and said, are we really gaining just because we pull that extra torque and unbalance the car? So,
Is it ever worth it to launch in second then?
well, certain cars you
Not in
can,
most
like the
cars.
Z06, it's got enough you could actually launch it in second gear, but generally not.
Bill Adams, from experience,
Oh, okay.
Forget first gear.
Yeah.
most cars now, you don't want to use first.
It's almost like a compound.
Oh,
It's there all so quick.
yeah, it's just you can't use it. You may just shift really short though, really quick. Yeah, you may. I mean, some cars we're in today, we just want to take a second. Yeah, it's easier. Just get it over with, focus on the turn, and then power out smoothly too. Like the Z06 may have been a better way to go. Just short shift a second, power out. You can be smooth on that power all the way down the straight. The key again is to not upset the car for the next feature. Have to settle going in.
That's what Mike and I found is before we ever got to the crossover of the alley, we were in second gear, and it just pulled.
And there's a couple of things to factor in there, because the engine braking, obviously, in a slow turn like this is going to be almost non-existent in second versus first gear. You'll have the engine braking, and for me, I'd rather have the engine braking so I don't have to use the brakes at all going around that turn. It's much easier for me to find where that limit of cohesion is in first gear. But that said, as Tom was alluding to, shifting takes time, and our brains don't seem to want to do two things at the same time very well. I think a lot of you saw that trying to shift anywhere in that turn made it a lot harder to actually make that turn happen right, because you're focusing on the shift point and not on the turning, not on when to accelerate, not on all that, the rest of that stuff.
I saw a lot of people that wouldn't look into that slalom until they got their 1-2 shift done. You know, and depending on where that was, it would just create problems.
How many people tried to shift in that U-turn? This initial circle right here. Hard, right?
It's hard.
It didn't feel like it was that tough. I mean, I already had my hand on the shifter, so as soon as I felt like I could get it, and
So you were one-handing through that circle? That's talent.
You should
One of the
you should
things
try
about
that in Aaron CRX. You should try to steer with one hand and back, especially at the turnaround. That wouldn't have been enough, believe me. So, kind of getting back to that though, how many people felt like they got slower, but the time showed that they got faster? Should have happened for a lot of you. I mean, there was a lot of overdriving, a lot of car being kind of all over the place, and then the car smoothed out, and yet your times were faster. And so there's a lot of times out there where being on the edge of control is good to a certain extent, but there are places out there where being on the edge of control is not the right way to go, because we're trying to look for, to some degree, repeatability. You know, is there a spot you can gain a 1/10 by being over the edge? Possibly, but are you going to be able to do that again? Not very likely.
Keep in mind too, we used to not even time this. You know, the important thing you guys need to take away from not so much is what the clock says, but how the execution felt. Because you're not going to have an instructor riding with you, so you need to have these file saved moments of that's how it should feel to execute a slalom. That's how it should feel to properly execute a decrease in radius. That's the important stuff to strive for, is the execution.
And in this next section, the times you had in the morning don't correspond at all. So that's a lot of the reason why we used to not use timing at all for phase 2 is because it doesn't really matter as the day goes on here.
Just remember, you got to be able to, like, with the students that I've had over the past 2 days, you got to be able to self-critique. That's that big thing. Like Brian said, there's not going to be an instructor in that seat every time.
When you come in off that run, just do a self-download. Just take a minute, download. All right, I wasn't happy up here, and I wasn't happy over there. This is what I'm going to do to change it. And then you go out, and that way you're focused on your next run, what it is that you want to change up.
Like I mentioned to Matt while we were on his runs, like, make sure you're honest with yourself. Like, be honest with yourself. If you didn't do something, be honest. And then go out and try to execute again.
All right, we'll have a 5-minute potty break, and let's go with Group 4.
have someone's sheet. Evan, is it yours?
Say Evan.
Yeah, that's my last one. Is this your sheet? Evan, maybe Remy? Remy? Is this yours? No? It's probably yours then. Okay, there you go.
Okay, you heard the instructors. Let's get ready. Take your body breaks. Group 4 will be running first. So Mike Ward, Jen Parker, Jay Guerrero, George Kubel, Pono. You guys should be getting your cars up to the inside staging area. Group 5, Kenley Ward, Corey Tomayasu, Devin Overstreet, Remy, and Matt. Go ahead and get you guys selves graded up in 13. See some of the cars already out there.
Every run.
I guess I'll need BJ to back off the line here.